Alright guys, I'm going to be throwing at you a whole bunch of golden tidbits and lessons in this video, so I recommend that you listen closely and take notes. First thing, this is a medium shirt. I don't usually wear medium, but it was the top one in the closet, and unfortunately, I am in a place where I fit into a medium. Nothing I can do about that. It's currently Lent, we're on the lower calories, and it is what it is. Second lesson, I'm recording this under pressure. There's that saying, or that idea of diamonds being formed under pressure. I personally think that humans perform best when they are under pressure. I'm studying right now. I'm working 40 hours per week. I'm recording videos. I'm taking client calls, one-on-one check-ins. I've got the Legion coaching call tonight. I'm never going to technically have enough time to get all of this done. But by forcing myself to operate under pressure, I inevitably get 2 or 3 times more amount of things done than anyone else or than other people around me, and I still prioritize my leisure time with my wife and for prayer and for God. So it can be done and it should be done is what I'm trying to say. What's the topic for today? Why you need to delete social media. Now this is coming from someone who uses social media and posts on social media, but that's precisely one of the distinctions that I want to illustrate to you. Consumer versus producer. Let's start here because this is kind of like the positive side of this whole video. If something is free, you are the product. Pornography is free because you pay with your soul. Social media is free because you're paying and making those companies money with your attention. You are the product. You are not the consumer who's paying for something and benefiting from the service like you would from a course, like you would from, going to watch a movie where you pay for it and you get to enjoy it if it's a decent movie, which there aren't many nowadays. It's free. You pay with your eyeballs, you pay with your attention, and they make millions and trillions of dollars off marketing and ad spend. Another idea to reinforce this, and this is why it's dangerous, and this is why you need to pay attention, and this is why so many of you are trapped by it. You're enslaved because this algorithm that decides which stupid reel of some, stupid kid failing down a slide or whatever has trillions and trillions of dollars of research and psychology of variable reward ratios where only 3 in 10 reels are going to be entertaining to you, and on the first 10 you're going to have 2 entertaining ones and then 5 which aren't, and then you're going to have the 8th one which hits. All of this stuff is researched to get you to spend as much time on there as possible. So you need to understand that it's not just you and your willpower. It's not just me deciding to go to the gym. It's you against trillions of dollars of research that does not have your flourishing and well-being as its priority. They have an economic incentive to make as much money as possible, and the way they do that is by keeping you glued to the screen as much as possible. So it really comes down to this. If you're not there to post content and try and convert people and spread the gospel and save Western civilization, you're just there scrolling, you're just there on the Reels tab. Is that sufficient enough of a reason to be on there? The answer is probably no. 2 more nuanced points on why it's so bad. Number 1, it distracts you. How many times, and I have experience with this because my phone has these apps on there, I'm about to start a task which has friction. I'm about to start studying. I'm about to start reading this assigned text. I'm about to start writing this assignment. And instead of actually just starting to type, I've got the document open, I'm going to grab my phone and check Instagram for no reason. For literally no reason. I had no reason to go on there. I'd already posted my reel. I'd already replied to DMs. But I go on there. I click to see if I've got any likes. Oh, the first video is about Iran versus Israel, about the Epstein files. It's making me angry. Then I see a based Christian nationalist video. And before I know it, I've watched 5 reels. And that's how that works. They got me because I opened the app. They don't even need me to search for stuff. They already know what I like. They already know what's going to get my attention. and I opened the trap and it was full of honey and I stuck my head in there. So that distraction that's always going to be there, it lets us escape the friction. And I know that you guys can relate to this because it happens with so many activities. We're bored, we're sitting in line. Instead of just sitting there and looking at the scenery or thinking about what's happened or anything, praying, out comes the phone. Open Instagram, open TikTok. It distracts you from yourself, from the activity, from being recollected, from being interiorly recollected. And it disturbs your mindset. Like, how many people after, let's say getting trapped or getting sucked into the honeypot, do you turn that off and say, man, my mind feels so clear, I'm so refreshed, I'm gonna go back to my activities with renewed vigor and motivation? Doesn't happen. We're usually disturbed. We just saw a disturbing video. We just saw an emotional video. We feel guilt for having wasted time. It's fully bad for you interiorly. Plus, so that's minus, it detracts from your life. But then what does it add? Makes you worry about stupid shit. Oh, yeah, look, I'm a believer in being aware of current events. Like, for example, the Epstein files, which I knew about all of this stuff for years now. It's great that it's coming into public consciousness. But the reality is that me looking at videos about it and seeing photos and getting riled up about it does nothing. But the fact that, you go on there and you see content, the fact that you see stuff about Iran versus Israel and stuff, regardless of whether or not I wanted to, maybe I'll go on some news app and it's like, okay, cool. It's cool to know this is happening. I mean, you sort of end up finding out about it inevitably. But regardless of whether or not that was my intention, which it wasn't, by the way. Like, I wasn't intending to find out about geopolitics in the Middle East. But because I'm on social media, I'm now seeing these videos come up. I'm seeing, this is what's dangerous. This is what could happen. The fuel prices could go up. Blah, blah, blah. I'm now worried, and there's blinking real estate in my mind that's being taken up by stuff that doesn't influence me at all. Not only does it not influence me, but now it's distracting me from the actual work that I have in front of me. It's distracting me from stuff that I need to be doing that's going to help me fight against the satanic pedophiles. That's going to help me build Christendom. That's going to help me, build fit for the kingdom and help build warriors to fight the spiritual war. All of the stuff, the good stuff that I could be doing with my time, I'm now, because the mind just grabs onto stuff and focuses on it, especially if it's novel. Now I've got all of the stuff in my head, which is distracting me from what I needed to do. And this could have been achieved in a matter of minutes. But of course, it's not just a few minutes. It's 15, it's 30, it's 45. It's every single time I have a spare 5 or 10 minutes, I'm on there. And I don't know, you see these stats thrown out on podcasts all the time. Average teenager spends 7 years out of his teenage years on his phone, or something ridiculous like that. Or on the average use rate, by the time Gen Z turns 80, they will have spent 23 years on a screen. And you hear stuff like that, and it's like, what was the point? What did we get out of this? The answer is absolutely nothing. So finally, what's the positive aspect of this? In the sense, what am I going to give you to take home now and think, this is what I can do? There's this great video of a priest that was a satirical video. And it was like, what if every time you pulled out your phone, you pulled out a crucifix and you stared at the crucifix? And it was like videos of him in the car where he pulled it out, he was waiting in line and he pulled out the crucifix. And that's kind of, it ended up being a lot deeper than he thought, I imagine, because it shows what our true response as Christians needs to be. And I can make the argument separately for any of you secular people or atheists. There's heaps of research and stuff on the benefits of being interiorly recollected and in the present moment, whatever. We're going to take that one step further, and it's being present with Christ. If every time you were faced with that friction, I'm sitting at the desk, I'm about to start studying, I'm sitting at home and it's nice and warm and I'm about to venture out into the cold and go lift some weights. Then instead of looking for that release, looking for that dopamine hit from the phone, and it's very minor, but you're still escaping the friction. Imagine if every single time you thought of our Lord on the cross, you thought of our Lord in the agony in the garden, you thought of our Lord in any time of his life where he would have experienced something similar to you, and that was where you went interiorly. Huge difference, huge difference. And finally, there's the mental aid station. To be honest, I can probably make a separate video on this, but this is something that Goggin talks about, that he's like, people ask him, oh, do you take holidays? And he's like, no, I don't take holidays. I don't really take holidays either. I think I've taken 2 holidays. I took 2 holidays last year, one of them being my honeymoon, and then we got a weekend away. End of December, haven't taken any holidays this year yet, as far as I'm aware of. No, don't think so. Mental aid stations is like, a lot of people think that they need an entire weekend or an entire day off to kind of decompress, rest, renew. And I've talked about this concept a lot more in my videos about leisure and keeping the Sabbath holy. But what some people don't understand about very high performers, Goggins being on that higher end, is that the mental aid station is like these little moments where it might not be physically difficult, where you might be in the shower, or for example for me, like whenever I reach the end of the day and I get to go to bed, is like a huge interior consolation for me, because it's like, sure, I'm going to be up and back at it in 7 hours, but at least right now I can relax, I can read a book, I can lie with my wife, and I can be interiorly at peace. Having a meal, for example, where you get to stop all the hustle and bustle of activity and I just get to sit down and eat some food. Or I get to go to a walk and I get to stretch my legs. They're mental aid stations where you can detach from whatever problems it is, from whatever, cognitive activity you're in, and actually just fully unplug. And it's like a little mental aid station when you're running a marathon, you have the little water stop or the pit stop or whatever you call it. And it's like where you can give yourself a bit of mental breathing space. And sure, that's not going to account for 18 hours of stress, which hopefully you're not having, but it is a bit of a respite where you're not escaping the friction in a bad way, but where you're just allowing yourself to detach and be present in the moment, ideally present with Christ. But sometimes it's difficult to be that focused where you can just take the moment as a mental aid station with the intention of like, I'm not going to sit down and scroll. I'm just going to sit down and just sit, and that's it. So anyway, that's what I'm going to leave you with today. I think there was another point there, but I've forgotten it. But again, be careful with that algorithm, because it's out to get you. It's not this neutral force that you can pick up and engage with as you will. It's out to get you, okay? It's out to get you. And you probably have been gotten. You've been caught before. Don't let it happen again. Be very, very, very intentional. Use a schedule. I'm going to check my Instagram from 6:05 to 6:15 p.m. and that's it. That'd be ideal. Use grayscale on your phone. There's little tools that you can use to try and avoid it. But ultimately, as I said at the start, if you're not a producer, if you're just a consumer, is it really adding value to your life to the point where you can justify having it if it's constantly distracting you? Because the answer might be no. And if it is no, doesn't mean you have to delete your accounts and stuff, but follow that through with your actions. Anyway, that's all from me. I'll be coming at you with another video on Friday. Please subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, X, Twitter. I need to get a bit more active on there. Got the Fit for the Kingdom podcast, which I run as well. Definitely go check out that channel. Please DM me with any questions that you have, any comments. Leave a comment down below if you enjoyed it. Yeah, that's it from me. That's my 2 cents. God bless. See you in the next one.